the wood snapped back, trapping his hands inside. You see, he had forced the tree stump apart with his bare hands as a show of his incredible strength. But as he pulled, the wedges holding it open fell out, and the man who was cutting the tree had already left. He struggled alone to free himself, but before he could, a pack of hungry wolves found him, making a meal of the famed wrestler. You would pinch the skin tag tightly at the base and quickly cut it off in one swift motion, which would minimize the pain, but it would also create an open wound. Plus, you might not remove the tag entirely, leaving behind tissue that could regrow. Even worse, some skin tags are attached to blood vessels, meaning cutting them could cause unexpected heavy bleeding. Instead, have it removed by a professional. As your fist hits, the brass knuckles focus the force into a smaller area. This makes your punch much stronger than with just your bare hand. When you strike, the energy goes through the brass into the target, causing more damage. The extra weight of the brass knuckles adds power to your punch and protects your hand from getting hurt. And since they cause so much damage, brass knuckles are illegal in most places. He felt everything as the scalpel sliced into his abdomen, but he couldn't move or cry out. That's because he was given drugs to paralyze him, but they forgot to give him the drugs to knock him out. For 16 minutes, he was wide awake in extreme pain until the doctors finally put him under. After the surgery, he couldn't sleep and became paranoid from the trauma. And tragically, he took his own life just 2 weeks later. Chunks of meat began to fall out of the sky in a small Kentucky town. They scattered over a farmer's field, covering a large area. The pieces varied in size, some as big as 2 inches, and others small. Collected the meat and ate it, but no one actually knows where it came from. Some believe that a flock of vultures had overeaten and puked mid-flight. But to this day, the Kentucky meat shower remains a mystery. The feet were soaked in warm water mixed with herbs and animal blood to soften them. Then the toenails were clipped short to prevent ingrowths. Next, the toes were curled under the sole, and the arch was forcefully broken to fold the foot in half. After that, the feet were bound tightly with long strips of cloth, pulling the toes toward the heel. The bindings were regularly removed to clean the feet and then reapplied even tighter. Over time, this created a tiny curved foot, seen as a symbol of beauty. Humans have about 600 muscles, weighing around 80 pounds in total, depending on their size. But an elephant has around 100,000 muscles throughout its entire body, over 160 times more than a human. While human muscles are specialized for fine movements and agility, elephants' muscles are built for both incredible strength and precision. Now, despite their massive size, elephants can actually walk silently due to this cushion-like layer in their feet. If you dove into a pile of coins, some people think you could swim in it, but because they're made of metal, they'd actually lock into place to form a solid surface, and they'd be too heavy to move under your weight. Now, a pile of bills might look fluffy and soft, but unlike water, paper doesn't distribute force. Instead, it would all be focused on the spot that you land, and the friction between the bills would keep them stacked in a solid mass. When you get punched in the mouth, the fist pushes your tooth against your jawbone and gums. This can make the tiny fibers that hold your tooth in place start to stretch. If they're stretched too far, these fibers can snap, which makes the tooth loose. At the same time, the force also pulls the entire root from the jawbone, and the tooth can be completely knocked out of your gums.